Let's talk Settlers, man. I put my review up this morning. I absolutely love this film. Talk to me a little bit about where your inspiration for this came from, because I get a lot of vibes from it. I get some Silent Running, get some Planet of the Apes. I get a lot of things from this, man. So where'd your idea come from?
Sure. As in like film references, or just the initial spark of the idea?
Both.
Both. Well, I'll start with the spark and then we'll build out from there. So it came from this feeling I had. I was in the woods with my dad, and it was snowing. You know, when it's coming down pretty heavy, it can absorb all the ambient noise to the point that it's quiet in a way we almost never hear. And there was just something very eerie about that. And I imagined someone watching us from the tree line, and looked up ahead at my dad and in his old coat, and imagined a guy patrolling the outskirts of his farm. Started to think, what was he patrolling? What was he guarding against? By the time we got back to the house, I basically had the plot. But it was only then when I had the thought to set it on Mars. Mars, as it may be one day when we're in the process of making it habitable, that I think, oh, actually, this could really be a feature. This has the thematic and visual richness to really, merit people a couple hours of people's time, or an hour, not, don't worry, it's less than 2 hours. I hasten to mention. But then in terms of like film references, I actually really drew heavily on westerns. I think I see this as a western. It's about people living on, struggling to survive on the lawless fringes, and trying to build a new home. I think westerns are inherently immigrant stories, and these are effectively refugees from Earth trying to build a new home in a hostile place.
One of the things I loved about it is that you kind of tease so much that could be going on outside the borders of this thing, but you turn your focus inward on these characters, and kind of turns into this kind of thriller chamber drama in a sense. Was that always your idea to do that, or did you have designs on going bigger at one point or another?
Well, I mean, this is my first feature, and so I admittedly did sit down to write a contained chamber piece, basically one location, just a few characters, because it was something that I could credibly direct at this point in my career. So that was a conscious choice, but it wasn't until I had this story that I actually started writing that I think, oh, this is really worthwhile. For me, what's at the heart of this, what's interesting to me about this, are the choices that these folks are forced to reckon with. These are choices that they wouldn't consider in a million years. But because of the desperate circumstances they're in, they have to. And I want people to walk out of this wondering, what would I have done, in that situation? How far would I really have been willing to go, or not go, to protect those I love, survive? And that for me is more than anything is, what this is about.
Like you said, this is your debut feature. What were some of the challenges that you faced while shooting this? I mean, it looks phenomenal. I imagine it was under limited resources. It looks great. But what's some of the challenges that you faced for a first-time filmmaker?
Well, there are, let's see. I mean, I'd say, we were shooting on a budget, so we had to be very, very precise with with the time that we had. We had, a generous schedule, but still a very tight one. Time is always the thing you're running up against, especially on, when you have a modest budget. And then, the location and the setting is so important to something like this, right? Because you're trying to sell this other world. That, we found a place that was really remote up in Vuelsdrift, South Africa, which is 7 hours from Cape Town, the nearest city. And while that created a lot of logistical issues and a lot of environmental issues, I mean, we were dealing with extreme heat, sandstorms, deluges, and lightning storms in a place where it doesn't rain. And yet it was, I would say, very much worth it because we were able to actually really immerse the actors in this isolated place that I think the landscape really speaks for itself. It is just a unique place. Uh, and I think we were also able to, I love shooting on location. I think we, even through those tough stretches within the environment, we actually came together as a crew. Like I think morale improved through those tough stretches because, you know, we were all in it together.
I can't let you go without talking about the cast, which is tremendous from top to bottom. Sofia Boutella, Jonny Lee Miller, Brooklyn Prince, Ishmael Cruz Cordova, who I think is incredible in this. He's scary in this at times, even when he's not trying to be scary. He's scary. Uh, Talk to me a little bit about bringing them all together and how they all work together on set. I mean, they're all really great.
Well, they all had a great rapport, which was really fun. And just out of the quirk of scheduling, they all basically with their schedules, we were basically able to shoot the movie largely in order. Like we started with it started with the family and went from there. And they, I mean, each all have a very unique way of working. They were all very supportive of one another and really enjoyed hanging out. Like they never went back to their trailers at base camp. They even when they weren't shooting their scenes, they'd stick around and hang out with the crew and the other cast members in, again, pretty harsh conditions. And yeah, I mean, I learned so much from each of them. They each have a very, as I said, a very different process approach to their craft. And yeah, they're just a lot of fun to work with, each of them in different ways.
Well, Wyatt, I wish you the best of luck with the film. I think it, like I said, I think it's great. I think you did a fantastic job. I can't wait to see what you do next after this, man. I'd love to see you revisit this world in some way too. Like I said, thanks a lot, and thanks for taking time with me.
Hey, thank you. I really appreciate it.
All right, thanks, man.
Thanks for checking out the show. If you like what we're laying down, please subscribe to our channel and click the bell to receive notifications for all of our latest stuff.